hello.
Imagine, deep in the heart of a forgotten land, shrouded in a perpetual haze, stood the ominous forest. Its very presence sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to cast their gaze upon its gnarled trees and shadowed path. Whispering legends echoed through the nearby villages, tales of the forest's dark secrets and the eerie presence that dwelled within its depth. It was said that once you entered the ominous forest, you became lost in a realm where time itself danced to a different tune. The sun's feeble rays struggled to penetrate the thick canopy of leaves, casting an eerie green hue over the forest floor. The air hung heavy with an unsettling stillness, broken only by the distant rustling of leaves and the occasional hoot of an unseen creature. Few had ever ventured beyond the forest's edge, for tales of those who entered and never returned were whispered in hushed tones. Superstition and fear held the villagers captive, anchoring them to the safety of their homes as nightfall crept closer. But in the face of such fear, there were always a select few brave souls who succumbed to an insatiable curiosity, drawn like moths to a flame toward the forbidden mysteries of the ominous forest. On the moonlit night, when the forest's ominous presence seemed to intensify, a young woman named Emily found herself standing at the forest's edge. Her eyes, bright with a mixture of trepidation and determination, gazed into the abyss before her. She had heard the stories, the warnings of the forest malevolence, but a relentless curiosity gnawed at her soul. It whispered enticing promises of knowledge and adventure, drowning out the cautious voice of reason. Ignoring the doubts that lingered within her, Emily took a step forward, crossing the threshold into the unknown. A chill wind whispered through the trees, wrapping its icy tendrils around her, as if the forest itself were trying to dissuade her from her path. But her heart beat with an unyielding resolve, pushing her further into the labyrinthine maze of towering trees and tangled undergrowth. As she delved deeper into the ominous forest, the path behind her began to fade, swallowed by an impenetrable darkness. Each step she took seemed to echo through the silence, bouncing off the ancient trunks like a haunting melody. She wondered what secrets lay hidden in this mysterious place, what unseen eyes watched her every move. The rustling leaves whispered sinister secrets, their voices a chilling symphony of the macabre. Unbeknownst to Emily, the forest had long awaited her arrival. Its ancient sentinels, twisted and gnarled, seemed to stir with a malevolent energy. Shadows danced and shifted, taking on forms that twisted the mind. The air grew heavy with an otherworldly presence, a palpable evil that slithered through the foliage, eager to ensnare its unsuspecting prey. Emily's heart pounded in her chest, a mixture of exhilaration and terror coursing through her veins. She had stepped into a realm where nightmares took shape, where the boundaries between reality and the supernatural blurred into a twisted tapestry of fear. And as she ventured deeper, she could not shake the feeling that she was being watched, that malevolent eyes followed her every move. The ominous forest had claimed many souls before, luring them with its silent song of adventure and knowledge. But would Emily be another victim, lost forever within its unyielding grasp? Only time would tell as the forest's dark secrets unraveled, revealing a horror beyond imagination. As Emily pushed further into the ominous forest, the path before her grew increasingly treacherous. Vines slithered like serpents, attempting to trip her with their deceptive tendrils. Roots twisted and snaked across the ground, threatening to ensnare her ankles and pull her into the suffocating embrace of the forest floor. The eerie glow of the moon cast elongated shadows that danced in a macabre waltz, heightening Emily's unease. The forest seemed alive, as if it pulsed with a sinister energy, its heart beating in sync with her own escalating fear. Unearthly whispers swirled through the air, whispers that burrowed into her mind, filling her thoughts with paranoia and doubt. Every step forward felt like a step into a realm beyond comprehension, where the laws of nature bowed to a more malevolent force. The air grew thick and heavy, making it increasingly difficult for Emily to draw a breath. Panic gnawed at her resolve, urging her to turn back and escape the clutches of this unholy place. But an insatiable curiosity propelled her onward, unwilling to surrender to the encroaching darkness. Suddenly, a low, guttural growl reverberated through the forest, freezing Emily in her tracks. The sound seemed to emanate from all directions, surrounding her with a predatory presence. She turned, scanning the twisted trees, searching for the source of the unsettling noise. Her heart pounded in her chest, threatening to burst through her ribcage. As a pair of glowing, malevolent eyes materialized from the depths of the shadows, a chilling realization gripped Emily. She was not alone in the ominous forest. Something sinister, something not of this world, lurked in the darkness, watching her every move. The eyes moved closer, revealing a grotesque figure, a hulking, misshapen creature with elongated limbs and jagged, needle-like teeth protruding from its twisted maw. Terror clenched Emily's throat, rendering her voiceless. She attempted to retreat, stumbling over gnarled roots and undergrowth. But the forest conspired against her, twisting and contorting its path, trapping her in its cruel embrace. The creature closed in, its hot breath caressing her cheek as its gnarled fingers reached out, yearning to claim her as its prey. Desperation surged within Emily, fueling a surge of adrenaline that momentarily momentarily eclipsed her fear. She fought against the suffocating grip of the forest, her determination overriding the overwhelming odds stacked against her. With a surge of strength, she broke free from the clutches of the creature's grasp, sprinting through the undergrowth, her lungs burning with exertion. But the forest, cunning and malevolent, seemed to shift its very form to block her escape. Trees bent and twisted, their branches becoming gnarled hands that reached out to impede her progress. The ground beneath her feet turned treacherous, a writhing mass of tangled roots seeking to ensnare her. Emily's body and mind screamed in agony, pushed to their limits by the relentless pursuit. She felt as though she were a mere pawn in a twisted game, a plaything for the forest's sadistic amusement. Yet, fueled by a primal survival instinct, she pressed on, her determination a beacon of defiance in the face of unspeakable horrors. As she ran, her foot caught on a hidden root, and she plunged into the forest floor, her body bruised and battered. The creature loomed over her, its putrid breath filling her nostrils as it prepared to claim its prize. But in that moment of despair, a glimmer of hope emerged. Through a small clearing in the trees, a faint ray of sunlight pierced the canopy, casting a slender beam of light upon the forest floor. The creature recoiled, its grotesque form contorting in pain as it shielded its eyes from the pure radiance. Emily seized the opportunity, summoning every ounce of strength she had left to crawl towards the light, desperate to escape the clutches of the ominous forest. As she emerged from the suffocating darkness, Emily found herself gasping for air, her body drenched in cold sweat. She lay upon the forest's edge, her senses assaulted by the sights and sounds of the outside world. The ominous forest loomed behind her, a malevolent entity that hungered for her return. But she had survived its clutches, her spirit scarred but unbroken. Emily knew that the ominous forest would forever haunt her nightmares, a reminder of the terror she had endured. Its secrets remained elusive, buried within its twisted depths. And although she had escaped its clutches, she couldn't shake the feeling that something inhuman watched her from afar, patiently waiting for its next opportunity to claim her soul. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, but the ominous forest continued to linger in Emily's mind like a festering wound. The harrowing memories of her escape refused to fade, haunting her every waking moment. She became consumed by a relentless obsession, an insatiable need to unravel the mysteries that lay hidden within the forest's depth. Driven by a morbid curiosity and a desire for closure, Emily made the fateful decision to return to the ominous forest. Armed with a map she had painstakingly sketched from her fragmented recollections, she embarked on a treacherous journey back to the heart of darkness. As she stepped once again into the foreboding realm, the atmosphere grew heavier, suffused with a palpable malevolence. The forest seemed to welcome her with open arms, its gnarled branches reaching out like bony fingers, eager to ensnare her once more. But this time, Emily was not easily swayed. She pressed forward, determined to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. Hour by hour, she delved deeper, following the map's markings through the labyrinthine maze of twisted trees. The air grew colder, the shadows deeper, and the silence more suffocating. Every step brought her closer to the heart of the forest's dark secret, though her heart pounded with an ever-increasing dread. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Emily arrived at a clearing unlike any she had encountered before. The ground was littered with decaying leaves, and a palpable sense of foreboding hung in the air. As she peered into the clearing, her breath caught in her throat. There, at the center, stood a towering monolith, its obsidian surface shimmering with an otherworldly glow. Symbols and inscriptions etched into the stone, pulsed with an ancient power that seemed to emanate from within. Emily's heart raced, recognizing that she had stumbled upon something far beyond her understanding. Compelled by an irresistible force, she approached the monolith, her fingers trembling as they traced the intricate carvings. With each touch, a surge of unimaginable horror coursed through her, as if the monolith were feeding off her fear. Whispers, eerie and insidious, slithered into her mind, filling her thoughts with incomprehensible darkness. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath her feet, and the forest seemed to come alive. Trees twisted and writhed, their branches elongating into grotesque appendages that reached out for her. The monolith's glow intensified, bathing the clearing in a sickly green light. Emily's voice was caught in her throat as she realized the true nature of the monolith and the forest that housed it. The ominous forest was not simply a place of malevolence, it was a sentient entity, a devourer of souls. Its purpose was to lure unsuspecting victims, to feast upon their fear and torment. Emily had played right into its hands, a pawn in a macabre game that she could never hope to win. As the forest closed in around her, Emily's screams were swallowed by the darkness. The monolith's power seeped into her very being, transforming her into a tormented specter forever trapped within the twisted realm of the ominous forest. Her fate, like so many before her, became a cautionary tale whispered by the wind, a warning to all who dared to venture too close to the edge of the abyss. And so, the ominous forest continued its existence, its hunger never satisfied, as it patiently awaited its next victim. Its tendrils reached out, stretching further and further into the world beyond, ready to claim new souls for its eternal torment. The forest's secrets remained buried, its darkness thriving, an eternal nightmare that forever haunted the land, never to be forgotten.